हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ महागणपतये नमः। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ॐ नमः शिवाय। 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 ॐ Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om 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 Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Ya Namah Parvati Pataye Har Har Mahadev. Hari Om. We shall chant this mantra also. Little paper you must have got. So you repeat after me. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. So yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam Patanjalim pranjaliranatosmi. My namaskar to Patanjali Rishi, Patanjali Muni, who blessed the world with three important works which Patanjali is credited for to Patanjali. One is this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which we will study. Another is he has written Bhashya on Panini grammar. And he has also written one book on medicine. So Patanjali Rishi, who was born, actually we have historically, there are various views, but one of the view is about 250 years before Christ. So he was considered as avatar of Shesha Bhagwan. Shesha Bhagwan we know. Bhagwan Vishnu resides on Shesha Bhagwan. So he is considered as the avatar of Shesha. He was a great rishi, and you can say one of the most ancient psychologist also. Depth psychology, meta psychology. So Patanjali Rishi, he wrote this Yoga Sutra, but he also, as I said, wrote a commentary on Panini grammar. So Panini Rishi has given us the Sanskrit grammar, which is the most beautiful language, and it has got some scar of spirituality in it, that language itself. So it cannot be actually easily translated in any other language. And even this text cannot be translated in English or in any other language. You will lose the meaning. It might appear quite gibberish, the translation. Because and other language don't have the words, they don't have the samskar, because the words also come out of experience. If those experiences themselves are not there, from where those words will come? For example, there are those people who live in the snow area, Eskimos and all. They have hundreds of words for snow, for different types of snow. For those who are away from snow and have not seen or once in a while go there, will have only one word, snow. Even clouds, we say clouds, but there are different types of clouds. Similarly, in English we might say just mind, but mind itself is a just general term. Lot of things are there within. So Sanskrit is a very wonderful language, and very deep, very scientific, very mathematical. And Patanjali Rishi, he wrote a commentary on that grammar, Sanskrit grammar. So he himself was a master of Sanskrit. And he has also written a book on medicine. So therefore in this verse we do namaskar to Patanjali Rishi, who has yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yo apakarottam pravaram muninam. He has removed the malam of chitta through yoga, of words through his commentary on Panini grammar, and the mala of our body through his work on medicine. Because if the mala goes away, all the impurities go away, we can experience our body as well as our chitta in its pure form, which is full of bliss, full of joy, full of peace. Basically, all of us are by nature peaceful and happy. Whatever unhappiness and trouble we experience is mala only. So through this work of yoga, he has helped us to remove the impurities of our chitta. Then our words also are defective to convey the right meaning. So if we know the grammar properly, proper syntax, proper use of words, then the defect of the language also can be eliminated. And our body also becomes pure if we follow the medical knowledge properly. So to such a great giant Patanjali Rishi, my namaskar. We will be studying this Yoga Sutra, only the first chapter. Otherwise, there are 4 chapters in Yoga Sutra, and there are total 195 sutras are there. Patanjali Rishi has written this Yoga Sutra, but he was not the first propounder of yoga. Yoga existed even before Patanjali Rishi was born. So traditionally, it is believed that Hiranyagarbha is the first teacher of yoga. Hiranyagarbha is the cosmic intelligence actually. We will be studying more about Hiranyagarbha. It's called Mahatattva, Hiranyagarbha. He is believed to be the first teacher of yoga. So yoga as a path existed right from the ancient times. And many of our stories, even in Puranas, are there of great yogis who existed much before Patanjali Rishi. Even Lord Shiva is considered as a great yogi. Even Bhagwan Krishna is a yogi, Yogeshwar Krishna. And even he advises Arjuna, you also become a yogi. Tasmat yogi bhava Arjuna. You become a yogi. And he talks a lot about yoga and yogi in Bhagavad Gita also. So much before Patanjali Rishi, this yoga or the technique system of enlightenment, gaining that state of enlightenment was there in our culture. Patanjali Rishi just gave it a proper finish. Like he brought every aspect of yoga and presented in this Yoga Sutra. It's the most amazing book which we will see. So the word yoga was mainly was used for this dhyana yoga, or the process of reaching that state of samadhi. But later on, it was also used for everything else also. Everyone started using that word, jnana yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, everywhere, because yoga means to join, to get united with our own supreme self. So whatever takes us towards that, whatever method, whatever sadhana which help us to reunite with our own self, were also called yoga. So the Rishi gave us this beautiful literature. Before Patanjali Rishi, another great Rishi was born, was Kapil Rishi. And Kapil Rishi gave us what we call the Sankhya philosophy, the Sankhya Yoga. And he has written that Sankhya Sutra. This Sankhya Sutra is the great philosophy which indicate the supreme truth and also explains this world and all our experiences. Everything is presented very, very clearly and scientifically. So in Sankhya philosophy, we have the first mention of the term Purusha, Prakriti, and the various expression of Prakriti, the three gunas, Sattva gun, Rajogun, Tamogun, and various experiences, Tushti and all those things. So everything was presented in a very systematic way by Kapil Rishi. He was one of the most brilliant, you can say, expression of Ishvara only. So his name is mentioned by Bhagwan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also. out of all the munis, I am Kapil Muni. And all other later philosophers also who came, great rishis also who came, they took the support of the Sankhya philosophy only to explain their own vision, because this was the support. You cannot add anything more, cannot remove anything more. Kapil Rishi, with his divine uh, power or sadhana, he saw not only the truth but the expression of this truth in the form of this prakriti and its various what you call divisions. So these are the facts which were directly experienced by Kapil Muni. And Kapil Rishi only said that if we come to recognize this Purusha as our own self, we will become free of all our sorrow, all our bondage. But he did not go into detail about the sadhana which will lead us to this state of enlightenment. So, uh, it was given by Hiranyagarbha in the form of yoga, and later on, our Patanjali Rishi gave us the whole yoga philosophy or yoga path in a very systematic way in his Yoga Sutra. So the Sankhya and Yoga, they go together hand in hand. Just like in our school or college also, we have the theory and then we have the practice. So Sankhya gives us the theory and yoga helps us to practice and reach that state which is indicated. Though it goes together, but even then, independently also, if one follows the path shown by Patanjali Rishi, that will take us to the ultimate goal. But if we have the little background of Sankhya, that will make it more clear. Okay. So briefly we will see that also as we study. Patanjali Rishi and all the so many other rishis also, they gave their whole vision in sutra form. Sutra literally it means thread. Sutra thread. It also means aphorisms or formulas. Sutras are formulas, but they are not haphazard formula. They are formulas which bind the whole philosophy together like a thread. This was the style of writing in the good old days because in very few words they conveyed everything about the philosophy of the darshan. It is the most fascinating style. In sutra, in formulas, the entire message was conveyed because printing and all was not there. So even if you have to by heart the whole thing, it will not be very difficult to by heart. This was one style. Another style we have like Puranic style is of Vistar. You one little thing and you tell a big story about it. The whole Bhagavad Puran was conveyed to Naradji in 4 verses. They are called Chatushloki Bhagavat. In 4 verses of Anushtup Chanda. 4 verses. But those 4 verses were elaborated by Ved Vyasji into I think 24,000 verses or something. In Bhagavad 24,000, yeah, 18,000. 18,000. 24,000 is Ramayana. In 18,000 verses 4 वर्सेस को 18,000 में with lot of stories in between. So that is one style of conveying the message, Pauranic style. Another, we have this regular our style where everything is explained without going into stories but in detail, like Bhagavad Gita. The main theme was explained to Arjuna. He had to fight the war. Bhagwan told him also that you just fight, that is your dharma. You don't give up your weapon. Fight this war. इतना बोलने से काफ़ी होता. But then he explained the whole thing in detail. And finally he said, okay, I will fight. Karishye vachanam tava. I will do as you say. So that is normal our style where things are explained in detail without going into stories like in Puranas. Then we have the itihas, which are the historical facts. The story of Ramchandraji, story of Krishna, story of Pandavas, Kauravas, presented in a elaborate way. And through those stories, through their life, we can learn. Just like nowadays also, if we read someone's biography, we can learn a lot about that person. Similarly, if we read the biography of a great person like Ramchandraji, we can learn a lot from his life. We can understand his vision. We can understand his qualities. So those are very interesting way of learning. But the Sutra way is something totally different and most fascinating. Most of our important works are written in Sutra forms. All the 6 darshanas which yesterday I was talking about, the Vaisheshik, which is written by Kanad Rishi, then Nyaya by Gautam Rishi, then Sankhya by Kapil Rishi, Yoga by Patanjali Rishi, then Purva Mimamsa by Jaimini Rishi, and Uttar Mimamsa, that is Vedanta, which we study, is by Badarayan or Vedvyasji. All these works are in sutra forms, formulas. Like for example, Brahma Sutra, there are about 555 sutras are there. So this sutra helps us to understand the whole thing in brief, and each and every letter is well thought of and written. In sutra, the rishi also, if he thinks that certain things are known to everyone, those things will not be mentioned. And minimum words, minimum letters are used. So each and every letter which is used becomes very important. It's like in science we have those formulas, like E is equal to mc square, let us say. Suppose I add D in between. E is equal to mc d squares. उसका पूरा जो है, it will not make any sense. It will be rejected. Or if I remove one letter from it, I say that MC क्यों, M निकाल देंगे, C square कर लेते हैं. That will also not. Square क्यों, cube करते हैं. That will also not help. And to understand that E is equal to MC square, we have to understand the entire physics. After understanding what is E, what is M, what is C, and everything, we will be able to comprehend and make sense out of that formula E is equal to mc square. Similarly, these 196 formulas are there, but they are not separate from each other, they are linked together. So they form one like a mala. like a garland. They are not de-link. So they are most amazing formulas. One thing we can find common in all the sutras, like even Bhakti Sutras are there, like Narad Bhakti Sutra, Shandilya Bhakti Sutra. In all this, even our grammar, Sanskrit grammar is written in Sutra. Panini Sutras are there. All this Sutra literature, one thing you can find common is that they begin with the word atha and they conclude with the word iti. Iti means thus, atha means now. From now to thus. In between, there might be so many other words. Iti means itna hi. Even about Brahma, the scriptures they say na iti. Iti nahi hai usko. There is no full stop. Means you can go on and on. You cannot convey everything about Brahma. There is no iti, na iti. But in sutra form, there is iti. आखिर में the rishi says iti. Iti means हो गया, full stop. Whatever I had to convey, it is conveyed. And it begins with the word atha. So most beautiful way of giving the message. Like Brahma Sutra begins with Athato Brahma Jidnyasa. Okay. Now, therefore, we will begin an inquiry into Brahma. Janmadyasya yataha. Brahma is that from which the world has come into being, it is sustained, and again merges back into it. That is called Brahma. And that is given in the scriptures. Shastra Yonitvat Tattu Samanvayat. All the scriptures they talk about it. So like that we have the Sutra literature, and Patanjali Rishi, being a great grammarian, he uses the language in such precise manner that even those who don't understand so much of grammar, they will appreciate the beauty of it. It's very well written. He was, as some people say, he was like a great scientist in this field, like Einstein. Just as we have Einstein in the field of science, Patanjali Rishi was like Einstein in the field of spirituality. Very precise. Mathematics. See, when a person goes into the world inside, generally he becomes like a poet, start conveying things in a poetic way. Person who dive deep becomes a poet, and who studies the world and all becomes a mathematician like. But here we have Patanjali Rishi who have dived deep within and remained a scientist, remained a mathematician to convey things very precisely, not going into poetic, what you call, adventure like, but precisely. Very beautiful. Now, many of you have studied Vedanta also. So one should not feel that, oh, ek kaun sa abhi dusra aa gaya. To understand Vedanta so difficult. Now Swamiji has brought up this Patanjali Rishi, I don't know from where, and these Yoga Sutras. They are not different. Because the truth is same, one only. It is conveyed in a different way. Therefore, the very famous that mantra is there, ki ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. Truth is one, It is conveyed in many different ways. So don't feel that this is a different philosophy. It's a different approach. In fact, Vedanta also accepts what Patanjali Rishi is, the method which he has given here. Because we have this, what we call the Shravan and Mananam, but the Nididhyasan technique is understood well if we can study these Patanjali Sutras. So, our Vedanta study will also help us to comprehend what Patanjali Rishi is telling us. So, Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Samadhi Pada, we will now begin. Just one point before we begin, and that is about various commentaries which are written on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The most ancient and most authentic or popular commentary on Yoga Sutra is written by Vyasa. We don't know whether he was the Veda Vyasa or another great rishi who was born called Vyasa. Vyasa Bhashya is there in Sanskrit on Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Then there is to explain this Vyasa Bhashya, another great rishi, Vachaspati Mishra, he wrote a sub-commentary on Vyasaji's Bhashya. And then there are others who also wrote. Then recently they found an amazing discovery was made. They found a commentary, sub-commentary. Sub-commentary means commentary on Vyasa Bhashya by Shankaracharya. Some believe it is Adi Shankaracharya, and some believe that maybe some other Shankaracharya ji must have written. This commentary is published by Banarasidas, Motilal Banarasidas. They have given the English translation of it, but this commentary was also discovered. So this Vyasa Bhashya which is there, that commentary is based on the understanding of Sankhya philosophy also, and then the Yoga Sutras were explained. But Adi Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya or Shankaracharyaji's Bhashya is based on the Vedanta, taking into account the Vedanta philosophy also. So slightly in a different way, certain things are explained. Then in the modern times, so many people have written commentaries on this. Even you have this one book. So many Mahatmas they have written. I have also gone through many of those commentaries. But one commentary which I found very interesting is in Hindi, which is published by Gita Press, which is I am using here. So this is written by again one what you call modern this Mahatma, and Sri Swami Omananda Tirtha, who has taken support of Vyasa Bhashya, of Vachaspati Mishra, of other commentaries also, plus his own experience. And he has presented the whole thing very beautifully and systematically. But if one is that we read these commentaries or listen to this pravachan, But if we really want to understand what Patanjali Rishi is talking about, we have to practice and follow his path and actually experience it. Because this is not a theory which he is giving, it is a practical guide that we will see. His practical guide. So it is not a theory. Each and every sutra which is mentioned here can be experienced, and the ultimate experience of that Kaivalya Avastha. So this much I think Prastavana is enough. If something more comes, I will tell you. Now we begin the sutra. So let us chant the first sutra. अथ योगानुशासनम् अथ योगानुशासनम् हाँ, this is the sutra. For those who have difficulty in by hearting, this is easy. Just atha yoganushasana. And the beauty of by hearting is if you keep repeating, it automatically gets recorded. Even without knowing, if you just keep on repeating the sutra for 10 times, it will get recorded in your head. Maybe some head requires 20 times. You can check. So, atha yoganushasana. See, one is that all our great these works, they begin with Mangal Shloka. Means remembering the divine, remembering that supreme reality itself is Mangala. Before starting or before doing anything, this is our tradition that we remember the supreme truth. Whether we are starting any action, work, or any important work, literature, we begin by remembering the Supreme. But here there is no Mangal Shloka as such, only the word Atha is there. This word Atha is also considered as a Mangal Dhvani, a very auspicious word, Atha. It is believed in Bhagavad also it is said that even Brahmaji before creating this word, he uttered the word Atha. So Atha is a very nice word. It conveys Mangal, auspiciousness. So even if we have this yajnas or something, we have to chant. Some we do invocation. Many people say, I cannot do invocation, I don't know. Even if you say Atha, I'm not giving you hint that next time only say Atha. But even if one says Atha, it is ho gaya, Mangal. Itself is the most fascinating sound. Like in Om, that first A. So Atha conveys auspiciousness. Atha also conveys the adhikar, who are qualified for this path. Like in Brahma Sutra, the word Atha conveys the adhikari for Vedanta, like Vivek, Vairagya, Shamdamadhi, Shat Sampatti, Mumukshutvam. So here also Atha conveys the adhikari who is the adhikari of yoga, who is fit. Of course, the basic fitness is required, but who is also ready for following this discipline of yoga. This is not a theory. Yoga is not a theory. Yoga is not a theory at all. It is theories are there, but it is a path. It is something which we have to follow. So those who are ready to follow, for they are the adhikaris. Of course, the qualities of mind, intellect, basic qualities of good qualities of mind, intellect, and all are required. Atha literally it means now. Now, actually, this Yoga Sutras came after Sankhya philosophy. So, in the good old days, when people studied and understood the Sankhya, which is also based on the Vedas, but it is conveyed in a beautiful way. So, those who have studied and those who have understood the Sankhya, and those who have understood that okay, I have to recognize my own self and gain that Kaivalya Avastha. But how? What should I do? How should I go about? I want to experience that Kaivalya Avastha, that state of enlightenment. So those who have that intense desire to experience that Kaivalya Avastha, those who have mastered the theory and also the initial preparation, like followed the path of dharma and made their mind sufficiently pure, hmm, and mastered the theory and want to experience the truth directly, they are the fit adhikari, and they are conveyed through this term atha, means now. Okay, that I have done. Now let me follow this path and experience that supreme state of enlightenment. So now, yoganushasanam. Now we will expound the yoga. Yoga anushasanam. Anushasan actually, shasan means rule. Shasan. Ne? Anushasan means rule after understanding. Anu, that word is like followed by. So a shasan which is preceded by understanding. So after understanding everything properly, we are following this discipline, anushasan. So yoga anushasan, discipline of yoga. Therefore, this is not, as I said, it is not a theory, but here a discipline is given. So Patanjali Rishi doesn't go into various types of arguments with other theories कि ये ठीक है कि वो ठीक है ऐसा है नहीं है वैसा है but he just gives that anushasan, the discipline of attaining the state of yoga. Yoga anushasan, discipline of yoga. It's like we go on the bus stand also. We have so many buses are there standing there parked. On them there various destinations are written. This bus will go to Jaipur. This will go to what you call Agra. This will go to Haridwar. So they are just written. If I want to go to Haridwar, I should not go and sit in the Agra bus. इधर के बैठने बहुत अच्छी बस है, एसी उसका अच्छा चलता है, खिड़की की वो मेरे को सीट मिली है, because I get what you call travel sickness, so it becomes easy. No. If I want to go to Haridwar, I should just sit in the Haridwar bus and go. Yoga, the meaning of yoga is not only the path, but also the goal. We will see the definition of yoga in the second sutra, which is given, which means the state of samadhi only. So, yoga is not only the path which leads us to the state of samadhi or that kaivalya avastha, the state of enlightenment, it is also the path. So, path and the goal. बस खड़ी है दिल्ली में, लेकिन उस पर हरिद्वार लिखा हुआ है. अरे यार, दिल्ली में है तो दिल्ली लिखो. नहीं, goal is Haridwar. But sitting in the bus is the path, it will take you there. Two buses at the same place, you will find अरे इधर ये भी सेम है, ये भी सेम है, दोनों इधर ही रहे. This Haridwar bus will take you to Haridwar. Agra bus will take you to the mental hospital there. नहीं, मेरे को ताजमहल देखना, वही एक ही चीज है. हाँ. So, similarly, if I want to attain that state of yoga, which is samadhi, and yoga is also the path, so I have to sit in the bus of yoga, the discipline of yoga, anushasan. Anu also means, as I said, followed by. To follow is called, like Anuja, we say na, Anuja. Anuja means younger brother, who is following the elder brother. So here, indirectly, Patanjali Rishi is also conveying that I am not giving this for the first time. I am also following the path shown by Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is actually cosmic intelligence or Ishvara's mind. So this, what it means is, this path, the yoga is given by Ishvara himself. The path is given by Ishvara himself, who is Hiranyagarbha. In Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagwan, who is identifying with that supreme truth, Brahma, he says that I gave this path first to Lord Sun. That Sun represents Hiranyagarbha. And Sun gave to Manu, and Manu to Ikshvaku. And in this way, the lineage. So that Hiranyagarbha is the first yoga guru. So much before Patanjali Rishi, this path was already there, but it was not systematized. It came down from Guru to Shishya, and it was scattered everywhere. People were not very clear about the entire path. So it was it was given a structure. So Anushasan also means a discipline, in the sense, all the science of yoga which was there scattered, it was brought under discipline and presented to the world. Anushasan. Even about grammar, it is said in the Sutra that it is like Anushasan of Shabda. Words, they also run around here and there. They are bound, they are put into discipline through grammar. Words are also, if they are in discipline, they will not be able to convey. Therefore, some people speak, but nothing is conveyed. So words can convey only if they follow certain discipline of subject, of predicate, of verb, adverb, this, that, all syntax. Everything is properly disciplined, then it will convey. Nowadays, because of our all texting and this and that, all these words have become free, like they are free birds. They have no discipline. Words don't have discipline because we have loosen their bound. So they will, after few years, people will not understand what the other person is saying, and that's happening even now. What children are speaking, parents don't. Before also they were not understanding, but now they don't understand at all. Like, because there is no discipline of words, they don't follow any rules, no grammar, no nothing. So grammar, because words are like free birds, grammar is meant to discipline words. Similarly, yoga, people just read here, there, this, there, कुछ भी कर लेते हैं. क्या कर रहे? योग कर रहा हूँ. No discipline. So to bind and create a discipline in that yoga, Patanjali Rishi has written this. Yoga अनुशासन, योग को बांध के रखो, उसको डिसिप्लिन दे दो, so that it can be used properly. Wherever you want the yoga to take you, it will take you there. It can be utilized in a proper way. So, atha yoga anushasana. So, the word yoga, though literally it means to bind, to connect. So, connect means that word in English we have that yoke. Connect means at present we have a notion about myself, an understanding about myself, which is a limited or a faulty understanding about ourselves. What we really are is much more sublime and much more deep, but we are as though disconnected from ourselves. We have as though shifted from our own center. Just imagine a wheel. It has got that center and axle on which the wheel rotates, like our cycle. In the center we have that hub. Just imagine that you have a cycle. You might have a cycle, so you don't have to imagine. But if you don't have, then imagine. So you have a cycle wherein the center is slightly dislocated, like thoda 1-2 inch, and you are riding the cycle. You will go like this. It will come up, and that is what happens to us in our life. We are not seated in our center. We are slightly disoriented. I mean, away from our center. Eccentric we are. Therefore, people wobble up like this. They go up and down. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gum type. Because we are not established in our own supreme self. So we are not connected to ourself. We are not connected to our own inner self. Then what? We are connected to something else. We are connected to our body, the world, to so many other factors which are not our real self. So to again reconnect to ourselves, which is also, I think, the meaning of the word religion. To reconnect to ourselves is what is meant by the term yoga. अपने आप से जुड़ जाना, अपने स्वरूप से फिर से जुड़ जाना. That is conveyed by the word yoga. But as Patanjali Rishi himself defines that word in the next sutra, that yoga also means the state of that connection. It's not only the path which he is showing, but also that state which is that state of samadhi, that that nirvikalpa or asamprajna samadhi avastha, that is also conveyed by the word yoga. So atha yoga anushasanam. So now the discipline of yoga. So he begins with this sutra and he explains the whole thing. This first chapter is called Samadhi Pad. In this Samadhi Pad, the ultimate goal, which is Samadhi, is indicated, and the various stages of Samadhi or various other expressions of this Samadhi is also explained. And there are 51 sutras in this first chapter. And this first chapter itself is as though complete. This first chapter is given to the highest, the most, the best student, who is best means who is more fully qualified, who is ready. So the truth is conveyed, the yoga is conveyed from the highest standpoint. And complete it is, there is no need for anything else. The what is that yoga and how, what are the various paths, how it will take us there, and what is that state of samadhi, everything is explained very systematically in detail. But those who are not qualified, those who find this very difficult, for them is explained the next chapter called Sadhana Pad. In that Sadhana Pad is mentioned this Ashtanga, Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam. Not in this first chapter. In the second chapter, Patanjali Rishi explains this more from the beginning, like Yama, Niyam, Asana. Here he assumes that one has already followed the path of Yama, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar. They are, you can say, they are at the stage of Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So he assumes. But there are some who are even more beginners than that. For them, then next chapter, he says, Baba, himsa chhod do. In this first chapter, he assumes that everyone is totally ahimsak and everything is all fit. But then he suddenly discovered that some people are still at the initial stages. So for them, then in the next chapter, the sadhana right from scratch is given to arrive at the same truth conveyed in the first chapter. And also in that chapter, Patanjali Rishi gives us the purpose of this whole yoga, because those who are very initial, they want to know the purpose. क्यों करना है, क्या करना है, छुट्टी लेके आ जाओ क्या, और उसका क्या होगा, ये वो, all sorts of silly things we require in the beginning. So that also is given in the second chapter, wherein he talks about the various klesha, about dukkha and how dukkha nivritti can happen, and what is that state of dukkha nivritti. Then those who follow this path of yoga, and whether to know that we are on the right track. For example, sometimes we go, let us say we want to go to Haridwar, we have sat in the bus and we are looking out of the window, and then we start from Delhi, we have started, then we look out of the window, then we start looking here, there, we see वहाँ पर रोड पे साइन आ गया है कि आगरा 100 किलोमीटर्स, मथुरा थोड़ा आगे है, वृंदावन आने वाला है, हम बेटे हैं. But when you look at that, you suddenly realize that I am on the wrong track. I have sat in the wrong bus. No? Similarly, those who follow this path sincerely, they will encounter certain siddhis or certain stages in their journey, and those are mentioned in the third chapter. The various vibhutis, the various siddhis which might come, which might not come, which might come on this path. They are also mentioned. Also, when you study those siddhis, you will know the psychology behind this path. The mechanism or the principle behind this path will also be appreciated if one studies those vibhuti. So there is this vibhuti path, the third chapter of Yoga Sutra, very fascinating, very interesting, very scientific, and it conveys the great mysteries of this world. This world which we experience is terrifically mysterious. Science is discovering the mysteries, and people are getting amazed by the various discoveries. But it is much more mysterious than what the science is talking about, because here our Rishi has investigated and found out the mysteries of the inner world. This great depth inside, we dive deep within, and we come to recognize our own real self. So as we pass through the various stages in our inner journey, we discover various mysteries. Those are given in this Vibhuti path. Even some of the siddhis, like remembering the past our lives, or understanding the language of all the beings, or even entering the other body, or all sorts of strange, mysterious vibhutis are explained there. Even becoming invisible, antardhan, which are given in a very scientific, means it is not just stories, like very scientific, very interesting, of antardhan. And that we read in the stories of these yogis, and all suddenly they antardhan, they disappear. They are there, but nobody can see them. In the field of science, they have discovered certain thing wherein they can block the vision, like object is there and you are trying to see, you don't see that object. Like in some places they block your mobile, people bring and it starts ringing and all, you can jam that so that no signal passes, comes to you. You are waiting for that person to call you while you are in pravachan, but no call comes, because you have mentioned to that person, please call me during that, because I want to just irritate everyone. But that call doesn't come. I want to take badla with Swamiji. He keeps on talking and doesn't allow me to talk. So you call me at this time. But call doesn't come because everything is jammed. That so similarly, we see a person because our eyes, the thing comes from that person, also the light and all. But here Patanjali Rishi says we can block that light from escaping our own body and reaching the other person's vision. Most amazing thing. So like that, various things are mentioned which help us to comprehend the inner world and how fascinating they are. And then he says that one should transcend this vibhutis also. One should not get attached to this. It's like you want to go to Haridwar and you get attached to that in between Modinagar or somewhere, then you can't reach forward. वहीं पर अटक के रह जाओगे. So you can just enjoy the view, but keep on continuing with the journey. Don't get down from the bus. So similarly, this don't get down from the journey. You can enjoy the vibhutis also if they come in between. And then the last, the samadhi, like yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Samadhi also there is samprajnat samadhi and asamprajnat samadhi. Or the famous term which you must have heard is savikalpa and nirvikalpa. But here the term is samprajnat and asamprajnat. And when we practice that, remain in that asamprajnat samadhi, then we reach that state called kaivalya avastha. That kaivalya avastha is the state of pure state of enlightenment, wherein one is remain as that Brahma only. Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati. In the Upanishad it is said, the knower of Brahma becomes Brahma. Means there is no longer any knower of Brahma remains. It's Brahma alone. That state of aloneness, where there is nothing other than that Brahma. Kaivalya avastha. That is also then explained in detail in the last pada, which is called Kaivalya Pada. So in this way, we have this 4 beautiful chapter, and the first chapter, which is Samadhi Pad, we will study. So the first sutra, Atha Yoganuशासनम. Now, after saying that we will expound yoga, the discipline of yoga. So the first question which comes in our mind is, okay, what is this yoga? You are explaining yoga, but first just define that yoga. And in the next words, the most beautiful and the most comprehensive definition of yoga is given by Patanjali Rishi. We will chant that sutra but see the meaning in the evening. So please repeat the sutra. योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः So in this sutra we have these 4 terms: yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha. In these 4 words, Patanjali Rishi has given the complete thing of yoga. In fact, the entire book is explanation of this only then, this sutra. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Bas, aur kuch nahi. So more about this we will see in the evening. We'll conclude with a prayer, and then again 2 minutes I will speak. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.